just a few days back, Donald Trump had given a blanket order stopping all USAID projects all over the world. Now, this had led to a flurry and chaos and consternation initially, but I think there was a method in the madness. The simple thing was that they wanted to uncover all the skullduggery that the Biden administration had been doing under the name of American aid to various countries for so-called humanitarian projects. Now, as it is emerging, these projects were being used to, influence elections in India. And in all probability, we found that millions of dollars were being pumped into India. One was $21 million to increase the voter turnout. What a laugh, to increase the voter turnout in India. And then there were projects which, they were channeling surreptitious funds to a lot of the YouTube channels. The electronic channel was very favorable to the Modi government. So a whole host of YouTube channels were suddenly raised up from the blue, funded, and money paid to spread them on the Twitter and other networks, X networks. So one of the intentions of Donald Trump was to try and uncover what exactly were the American taxpayer dollars being spent on. So like I told you, one, it was being spent to influence elections in India, to destabilize the Modi government. They were actually used to overthrow the Bangladesh government of Sheikh Hasina Wajed and bring in Muhammad Yunus there as a self-styled executive. So there are these various covert projects, where millions and in fact billions of dollars were being funded. There are speculations that about $6 billion worth were given to George Soros for his nefarious projects, including in India, to destabilize the government of India, to possibly fund the farmers' agitation, etc. A lot of skullduggery was going on, which the Biden administration was encouraging. One of the things that suddenly came up with this is that when Donald Trump stopped all funding aid, naturally cries of distress came from all over the world where the money was going and where it was stopped. So that helped Donald Trump to identify, where the funding was going. It now turns out that one of the recipients of some $397 billion was the Pakistani Air Force, which was given these $397 million, for maintenance support, spare part support of their F-16 fighter jet fleet of almost 80 fighter jets. Now, this has come as a big surprise. It almost sounds like a volte-face. As we are aware, Donald Trump had just created shockwaves all over Pakistan and China by announcing the intention to sell F-35 fifth generation stealth fighters to India. It had created shockwaves in Pakistan. Pakistan was in panic. When this order to forthwith seal all US aid for the American F-16 fighter fleet in Pakistan, that must have come as a great shock, because in effect it would cripple the F-16 fleet of the Pakistan Air Force. So Pakistan must have gone hollering, crying all the way to Washington. And the surprising fact is that Donald Trump has given this leeway. This is a change from his earlier stance. In 2018, he had said, Pakistan is a very treacherous country. They've been ripping in the United States of $3.3 billion, and they have happily given support to all kinds of terrorists acting against the United States. Osama bin Laden, as we all know, was sheltered 800 meters from the Pakistan Military Academy, Kakul. And that was quite a shock when it was found out by the Americans. So Donald Trump was absolutely right. Pakistan was running with the hare and hunting with the hounds, ripping the Americans off $3.3 billion and then playing both sides. So he had said he's going to stop all aid. So this latest decision to now permit aid to Pakistan for the maintenance of its fleet, it's a very expensive fleet to maintain, the F-16, and Pakistan has been funded. Joe Biden had given $450 million a few years back to 22, I think, to keep this fleet flying, the fleet of F-16s. And we all know the use Pakistan has put that fleet to. Though on paper the United States has told Pakistan it will be not used against India. The simple fact is 2016, when push came to shove in Balakot and we attacked their terror training camp, the Pakistanis retaliated using the F-16s, armed with their AMRAAMs. One of them shot down, they also took their losses, but one of them shot down Wing Commander Abhinandan's MiG-21 with the AMRAAMs. They have been using it against Iran, they have been using it against Afghanistan, they have been bombing their villages, killing women and children, and making quite a nuisance of itself. So India had even then protested very strongly that these jets should not be used against India and used against their neighbors. All this hogwash about using it against the terrorists fools no one. But the United States had not listened to us. They had gone along. The background story is that in 79, we all know the Soviet Union had invaded Afghanistan. And then Pakistan had offered itself as the frontline state against the Soviet operations in Afghanistan. They had become the base for about 80,000 mujahideen, guest mujahideen and local Afghan mujahideen to fight the war against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. That is the time the Soviet Union was very incensed and they had started sending their fighter patrols, almost breaching Pakistani airspace as a warning to Pakistan to stay out and not mess with the Russians. So that is the time Zia-ul Haq had exploited this opportunity to raise a hue and cry and say that, the Russian Air Force was going to attack Pakistan, and therefore he had gotten these F-16 supposedly as a deterrent. And when any equipment is sold to India, we are asked to pay in hard cash for the equipment, for the maintenance, for the spares, for the follow-up support. But Pakistan has been getting $450 million a year to keep these F-16s flying. Somehow there is a large part of the American covert establishment which has always had an extremely soft corner for Pakistan. And now, of course, Donald Trump and his Republicans are saying, the Secretary of State himself, Marco Rubio, he had piloted a bill in the American Senate that India should be given most favored non-NATO ally status on par with Japan, etc. Because India was a big bulwark against China, which Donald Trump finds to be the primary threat. But when we start translating this into action, we are surprised that there are large sections of the American establishment which has a great soft corner still for Pakistan. What explains that? I mean, the Soviet threat from Afghanistan is over. The Russians left Afghanistan in 1989. So now what? Then, of course, the second war on Afghanistan to get post 9/11. And we all know how Pakistan took the Americans for a ride. Donald Trump himself had pointed that out. So what use does America have now of the Pakistani military and the ISI complex? There was an American paper which was in the open media, an official paper of the United States, which says that they still need the support of Pakistan to counter the drug menace. As we all know, Donald Trump is extremely worried about the inflow of drugs into the United States, fentanyl, and the rest of it. And they are trying to see that this drug inflow into the United States come to a halt. And it is believed that because of this, they want to keep some leverage with Pakistan. If they had denied these spares, the Pakistani F-16 fleet would have been crippled right away. I think India should, try and lobby for this with the United States, with a more favorable American administration there instead of the hostile and inimical Biden administration. We should lobby for this, but whether it will come about or not is a matter of speculation. Thank you.